Who does that? Well, just
We'll see what the freak I have to do with.
get your feet out of the shot.
Oh. His feet can stay in the
Then
shop.
close it up real quick so we can finish this. So, Will, is this what do you got going on here? Is this another Cooking with Lynn segment?
Nope.
Is this episode 2 here?
It is.
Alright. Sweet. So, we should probably explain where we've been.
So we've been busy, in other words.
Yes.
Work, other, things that are going on. I happen to move into an apartment. These things take time. Unfortunately, the show's kind of been on the back burner, but we're going to hopefully bring out some more content, starting with episode 2.
In light of this absence, we do have a full episode right here, and it's fresh, and it's burning in our pockets to give to you.
Yes.
So, here's Will with a new in-car gaming segment. Is that right?
Correct.
Alright, let's jump into it.
Okay, so I'm sure you've seen, shows on MTV and TLC Pimp My Ride, right? Everybody's got video game systems, they got TVs, they got more TVs in their car than most people have in their entire house. I'm not like that, but I'd still like to be able to play, get my GTA on in the middle of a parking lot somewhere when who knows what you're doing? You're waiting for a train or whatever. Who wouldn't like to just be able to flip open their glove box, pull out a controller, and start, macking it on like Mortal Kombat or something, right? So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be adding a PlayStation 2. This is a slimline PlayStation 2 model. Retails for about $125. You can get them. I'm sure you know what a PlayStation 2 is. We're going to be adding it to the existing system in my 1999 Chrysler 300M. It's going to be done on a couple parts. I'm going to kind of show you what's in there right now so you know what we're working with. So in the event that you decide to do this on your own, you know that what you kind of have to re-replicate. And in the process of that, I'm going to teach you a little bit about automotive electricity. It's not much different than any regular electricity, other than some little aspects. At that point, we're going to plan out where everything's going to go. We're going to run some preliminary wiring and hook up kind of the basic things that we're going to need to get the get the PlayStation powered and hooked up to the car deck and to the screen that's in the dash. And at that point, we'll hook it all up and we'll test it out. And we'll make sure everything works, and hopefully everything will. We are kind of winging it. I just kind of decided to do this the other day. It's not a very difficult thing to do, so I hope that that little bit of inspiration that I seem to have received will pay off in the end, and we'll have a nice product here. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you a few of the things that are in the car right now, so you know what we're dealing with. Okay, so we begin our journey into gaming abyss here under the hood. Right now, already in the back, I have an audio system, so there's a 12-volt line running from the 12 volts under the hood straight to the back. That's where this picks up. That's this red wire. You'll see this again in a few minutes. This red wire basically grabs right onto the 12 volts here, goes through the firewall. It travels along the side of the car and into the back seat where the amplifier is. That's where we're going to be picking up the 12 volts for the inverter that we're going to hook up the PlayStation to. So we'll journey to the back right now. I'll show you that. Alright, so we're in the back seat here. This is where kind of all the magic happens in terms of the audio accompaniment that's in the car right now. Right now there's two power amplifiers back here. There's an 850 watt Alpine, which is staying, and then there's the 750 watt Super Sport, which we're going to be pulling out because it's no longer in use, and we're going to use its old hookups. We're going to power the 350 watt inverter off of that. The best thing to do if you have the time and if you're going to plan it out and do it properly is you don't want to go with an inverter. You want to go with some kind of device that's designed to take that DC current that's coming, the 12 volts off of the car and actually modulate that down or transform that down to the 8.5 volts that the PlayStation needs, but we're kind of going the skin of our teeth route here. We're just going to up it up to AC and then back down to DC with the inverter. The added benefit of adding the inverter, of course, is that there's an outlet. I mean, we have a 110 volt AC outlet that we'll be able to plug whatever we want into, namely a laptop or whatever. So you kind of had that flexibility. The inverter that we have should be more than adequate with 350 watts to power the PlayStation and whatever device, laptop or whatever we want to plug into it later. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be removing this, and his power is going to be then feeding the inverter. So let's do that first. That's pretty simple. So we'll do that right now. Okay, so you got to remember, when you're working with electricity in a vehicle, the positive is always on some kind of wire, and then the ground is typically the body. In this case, all of the audio stuff is ground to the body of the car. We're not going that route with the inverter just because, I mean, frankly, we don't have enough wire right now. So we're just going to ground it to the ground on the capacitor for the audio system. It's pretty self-explanatory. You have your positive line. This positive line right here is coming from the battery. That's what I showed you up in the front. Runs into the capacitor charges up, and it gives power to the audio system. We're ignoring that. We're kind of bypassing that. And we're just grabbing that 12 volts right off the capacitor again and going over to our inverter. The negative on the inverter comes back to the capacitor, which is ground to the body. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It wires up just like anything else. It's just positive and negative. Remember, if you're intending on doing this semi-professionally, use fittings of some kind, like the ones I've used here, down there, and for the ground. But we don't happen to have any of those right now, so we're not too worried about it. Okay, if we power on the inverter now, we should. You can see the inverter is powered, and if we where is the multimeter? Right here. Make sure you stay organized above all else.
Be careful when doing this while you're at it.
And we'll test the inverter.
Oh yeah, this is smart.
And our multimeter's dead. Yay! We're not testing the inverter.
What about plugging a laptop into it?
We'll just plug in the PS2 that we're using.
Yeah, we'll just plug the PS2 in. So preliminary test is complete. We're going to come back up to the front, and I'll show you how it connects into the deck and all of that. So, and then we'll come back to the back and then actually wire up the 110 to the front properly. Cool? Cool. Okay, so the way that this particular deck hooks up, it's just like any other standard TV in your house. It's just got the red and the yellow and the white connections on the back of it dangling off. We're just going to connect the PlayStation up to that, and hopefully that'll work. I know that this deck actually has a safety feature built in, where when the installer puts the deck in, they hook the deck up to the parking brake lights, or parking brake or whatever. I don't think there's parking brake lights anyway. So the deck actually knows when the car is in park, and it won't display any video. However, something I'll explain a little bit later is how to evade that, and you can bypass that and input a special code, and it will allow you to actually, kill yourself so you can watch movies and play PlayStation while you're driving your car. Okay, so we'll rip the deck apart now. On this car, I mean, this is obviously going to be different for any car, whatever vehicle you're doing. This one happens to be fairly simple. I know on Chevys, notoriously a pain in the rear to get the dashboards off. Be careful not to break anything. It's fairly simple. I mean, if you've installed a car deck before, I'm sure you can take one out. Remove this guy slowly. This one in particular has a huge catastrophe of cabling attached to it. Just slowly pull it out so you make sure that you're not ripping out any connections that you need. I know I, for one, always tend to rip out the subwoofer connection on accident, which is not fun because then 20 minutes later you get to redo it all. Okay, this is the wire. I think it is, yes. This is the wire. As you can see, it has a caution label on it. Caution, make sure you hook this up to the brake line thing so that we can not let you play games while you're driving. The way that this is typically hooked up, like I said, it's hooked up to the brake line. If you have an installer put this in, usually they'll just ground it because it's a huge pain to actually utilize the safety system. It never works right. You have to like park it and then unpark it like 15 times or something like that, and then it finally unlocks it. So we're just going to leave this dangling for now. In most cases, what you're going to want to do is ground this, but we're not going to worry about it because, like I said, we're just going to put in that code and everything will be dandy. Anyways, as you can see on the back, it's just like hooking up a TV, literally. You just have your red, yellow, white on there. This is the auxiliary in. I guess if you are, if you're a complete idiot, you could accidentally hook it up to some of the other ones. There's a line here for a camera, for the rear view camera that I don't have. You could hook it up to that as another input if you're using the other input for something else, but you have to remember there's no audio on this line. So yeah, we've ran, let's grab this here. This comes through just behind the dashboard here to the back, behind the glove box. Again, it completely depends on what kind of car you have and how open the back of the dashboard is where you're going to run these cables. That's where this one's going to run, and we're just going to tuck all the extra behind the head unit. So that one's ran through the glove box. Throw that in there, and we will put this back in here. So, like I said, yours probably will not be that easy. I'm kind of lucky that Chrysler decided to make the dashboard just rip off. So that, that's how that one's done. Okay, car back off. Now we're going to figure out what we're going to do about the glove box because it doesn't necessarily fit in there completely factory. So we're going to have to do some modifications to the actual plastic pieces in the glove box. So we'll get that torn out and then we'll come back and we'll show you what we're going to do with that. So the PlayStation 2 is going in this glove box right here. At first glance, it seems that you can stick it in there and everything will fit fine and dandy. We can close the glove box. It looks discreet, there's nothing in there, right? That's fine. But after you actually connect up both the power and the video connections, you lose that itty bitty little bit of clearance that you have, at least in this situation, and there's no more room. It can't close. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut a little gaping hole in the back there. Maybe you can see the outline. There is an outline of where we're going to put it. You'll see it after I cut it. And the cables will just kind of sit back there and be recessed in there. So grab your trusty Dremel tool, grab some delicious chocolate-covered cashew nut things, and cut away. All right. So we've modified the car pretty much as we're going to need to. As you can see, cut a decent sized chunk out of the dash, or not the dash, the glove box here. It should suffice. We're going to feed the cables up. We also had to modify the cables slightly because these RF isolator things, I don't know what, even if they're RF, they wouldn't be RF because it's not radio, but they were up towards the front, and the way that this thing is going to sit, it's not a good place for them. So it's best to keep them as close to the connections as you can, so we'll scoot them back up once we kind of get it mounted. But we'll stick this through the hole, and then the PlayStation's going to sit right in the back there and hopefully fit like a glove. So do this. It's pretty simple. Our audio video and our power. Maybe someday we'll have a network in there and we could play networked PlayStation in the car for no reason. Alright, we'll plug that in. Make sure we're good there. It's kind of same thing kind of as when you were working with the head unit. Just pull it through slowly, make sure you don't yank anything out when you're going. And that fits exactly how it was intended to. Okay, as you can see on our little display here, we run into the issue where it tells us it's unlawful to operate a vehicle while you're watching video, blah 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 blah. We don't really care, so we're gonna just bypass that. The way that you do that is you stick a DVD movie in. Right now we have, you know, your movie Meet the Fockers. You wait till you can hear some sound playing. You press stop on the remote twice. It's 26604. Okay, so after you hook that the parking protection wire back up to ground, after you do that, you're gonna put that code in 26604. Enter at the while you're playing a DVD, and it will unlock it, and it will allow you to play video. Not necessarily while the car is driving. It'll just disable that just terrible protection system that they have on there that doesn't really work anyway. So yeah, if you have any problems with that, just send me an email. It's a little bit of a hassle, but you can find forum posts about it all over the place because it's a pretty popular deck. Oh yeah, it's kind of small. Yeah, a little bit, just a little small. Oh man, the bass on that. Oh shit! Hear the bass kicking? Yeah. Boy, topped it out. Did it? Yeah. Alright, so I hope now you have a little bit better understanding, if you didn't before, of a little bit of how, you know, electrical systems and vehicles work, if nothing else. And I hope it kind of inspires you to try, you know, remember that cars, computers, everything, it's all electronic. You can just mod whatever you want into it. You know, if you have a crazy idea, PlayStation in a car isn't that crazy of an idea anymore, but, you know, back in the day, who knew you'd have a PlayStation in your car? Who knew you'd have, you know, lights in your computer case? So just remember, be safe. You don't want to blow anything up. Don't do this to your mom's Astro van, and you know, just stay safe, and, you know, don't forget to tell us about anything that you do. Remember to review the show notes. I'm going to write this up pretty heavily. I'll probably post like a little you know, thing on the forums about it. Feel free to give me a call. Call me on the PBX 866-667-1337. Will at TechCentric.org, and hopefully this is one of more segments to come regarding Spartacus here. So we'll see you next time.
So Will, that setup is pretty cool. I mean, you got a power plug in your car now. You got the new deck with the screen on it. What else are you planning for this setup?
Well, obviously with the screen and everything, it opens up. You have a lot of possibilities with something like that, and especially with 120 volts sitting in the trunk. Mm-hmm. Hopefully some kind of car computer in the future.
Ooh,
something
exciting.
Like that.
Maybe even a VGA screen. That would be
VGA screen, touch screen, you know, whatever we can do to figure
pretty
something
balls.
out.
Alright.
Coming up next, I guess we got the staple surfing with Steve.
As always.
Here's Steve, and he's surfing.
Kind of.
On
yes.
the
Web.
For you.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Surfing with Steve. I am Steve, of course, and I have another 2 sites, as always, for you. The first site is Fixya.com. Now, this is basically like a Yahoo Answers, but for certain products. It's extremely well organized, as opposed to, say, Yahoo Answers, where it's kind of all over the place. You can search for a product on their main page, and once you find your product, it should have a full page dedicated to it. Right when you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a troubleshooting and support section where there are some people that post their problems with that particular product, and people might have solutions and things like that. The next section down is unsolved support problems. That's like things that are extremely difficult. People haven't been able to find a solution for that yet. There's some tips and tricks for some of the products. If there's something small that somebody wants to mention about the product that they found to be useful, they can put that there, and it's like a tip section. Next one down would be like the wiki manual, where you can look at different manuals and kind of how-tos on either that product or more information about it. Under that is sometimes the official manual for that product in PDF format. The next section down after that would be specifications, which will tell you all the specifics about your computer or your phone or whatever, what have you. So you can take a look at that. Maybe you're comparing products and you'd like to see if possibly they break easy, or people have a lot of problems with a certain thing. Then you could tell from this site. A little pre-shopping there. Farther down, you'll see warranty information, and also a real helpful thing is the contact number for the company that you're working with. Most of these sites do have the contact number on here. Some of the Fixya pages obviously don't, because it might be an off-brand, like who knows what. So that's Fixya.com. It's very helpful if you're looking up product information or you need help with your product. The next site would be Mailinator. That's Mailinator.com. Spelled just like it sounds. And this one was actually suggested by our very own Nick. I'm sure he uses it on a daily basis because it's very useful. What this site does is it actually lets you create a temporary email address in order to either register with websites, or if you need to just get a file over to somewhere, you can create a temporary email address. Now how it works is, if you're signing up for, like, say, a forum, for example, you can type in whatever you want it to be at one of their domains here. Let's see, they have 6 of them that you can use. One of them, for example, is like thisisnotmyrealemail.com, and you can just say Steve TechCentric at thisisnotmyrealemail.com and have it sent to that, the registration information sent to that email, and then you can go back on the main page here, type in that email that you just made up again, and it'll give you your temporary email address with whatever you've been sent. So it activates that temporary email address, and you can use it for however long they let you use it for. Alright, so that's really helpful, and I hope you enjoy both of these here. I hope you find them useful and that you'll use them and pass them on to your friends. If you have any suggestions for websites you'd like me to review, it's steve@techcentric.org. Our PBX is down at the moment, but hopefully it'll be back up later. It's 866-667-1337. And that'll be all for this time, and see you next episode.
So Mailinator seems pretty sweet because,
Yeah.
get a lot of spam from the old questionable websites that you sign up for.
Yeah.
But it seems cool because, as opposed to something like Dodge, you actually get to choose the domain.
Right.
The prefix of or the suffix of the domain, so that's pretty cool.
Right, they do have a few choices, like 7 or 8 of them, something like
Easy
that.
to remember, I guess.
Right, like this is not my real email.com. That's a good one.
All right.
I'm going to use that. Anyway, coming up next, we got a message from our Overlord sponsors. So check it out.
Sold out.
Yeah, we finally. Sorry guys. We found this product. It's just too great.
Oh, jeez. Oh, are you tired of that same crappy white plastic Wii wheel?
Yeah!
Well, try the new Nintendo Real Wheel!
Holy crap, this is amazing! It's full size and it holds my remote. Alright, let's go. This is awesome! Why even hit any of the buttons? That's what tape is for. Look. But what about items? This is all trade-off for this giant, awesome, real wheel. This is awesome. I'm still winning anyway. Yeah, but I'm having more fun. Yeah, whatever. The real wheel available in stores nowhere. Just get a wheel. Well, that was anything but educational.
Enlightening,
Yeah.
if you will.
I'd say that.
Classify that as enlightening. Speaking of enlightening, coming up next we've got Nick, and he's showing us some productivity things that you can do to save time. Because if you're an important man like Nicholas here, your day is just so jam-packed with action that every second you can save counts. So here's some productivity tips from Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick, and today I'm going to be giving you some quick tips on saving time with your computer and your day-to-day activities, so I guess we'll just jump into it. First one I've got for you is Qt Tab Bar. Now it's an add-in for Windows Explorer that adds tabs, much like you would have in Firefox or Internet Explorer. Now the cool thing is, just like with tab browsing, you can have as many as you want to open at once, and it's skinnable, and you can just, there's so much you can do with it. It's pretty cool. It's also got a sister extension called Qt Address Bar. If you like the address bar in Vista and being able to click the folders, you can use that too, but it's separate. On a different note, for launching applications, I've got a couple of suggestions for you, depending on what you're more into. I mean, there's always been Skip to, if you remember our older episodes. Another good one would be Launchy. Launchy is similar to Skip2 in a lot of aspects. A lot of people use it. But there's that. And if you're more into docs, there's also stuff like Rocket Dock you can use too. Those are a couple of ways to save time by launching your applications. You don't have to go hunting for them. They're right there already laid out. As far as virtual desktops go, there's a suggestion I have called Virtual Win, or you can also use the XP Power Toy. It's an easy way to keep your applications together. If you're working on a project in one, you can have your email open in another, and anything that's just distracting you in another, use them for whatever you want, your call. Two other suggestions I've got for you run along the lines of keeping notes and all your day-to-day quick jots together. First one is stickies. You know, just like the old Mac OS app, it's sticky notes all over your desktop rather than all over the bezel on your monitor. Use them for whatever you want. And then there's also, my personal favorite is Evernote. The new one is in closed beta right now. You need an invite. But I like it because it's web-based. You can use it internet, your PDA, your mobile phone. You can send notes to it via email. There's Windows, Mac clients. Basically, they've got anything you could ever dream for, and it's super easy to use. For keyboard macros, it's one easy way to automate if you type a lot and it's always the same thing or similar. They're a quick way of getting that out without having to copy and paste between stuff you've already saved. I'd recommend them. There's two ways to go about it. There's the hardware method, which obviously requires you to have some piece of hardware that will let you do it. Most often, some higher-end keyboards or mice will be able to do this for you, part of their drivers. But for most of us who have cheaper stuff, you're going to need to go with a software route, which is where stuff like Auto Hotkey comes in. Same concept, software-based. Not much more I can say than that. And lastly, because everyone needs to unwind, I also recommend a good game or two, Tux Racer, Nexuease. You can take your pick. They're all good. Alright, now if you get any more suggestions for more productivity apps or anything along that line, or just anything at all, feel free to email me, nick@techcentric.org. IRC, channels TechCentric, irc.techcentric.org. We'd love to see you there. Maybe we'll play some games. I don't know. Peace.
Alright, so Nick, thank you for those time savers. Those definitely come in handy either with my wife or I'm sure Will use them too, right?
No.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Dark Alex, and you're watching TechCentric.
But anyways, what do you got coming up next?
We got some sort of paranoia-related subject matter from Jared.
Sweet.
Well, hi viewers, back from Minnesota for the 4th of July. Figured I'd do some updated content for you guys. Again, with the privacy concerns, this time I'm going to teach you about facial recognition software and utilizing that to get into your system. Now, why is this relevant to us? Well, a lot of governments with heightened security concerns, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily warranted, but whenever you come into ports of entries, whether it be through airlines, sea, or land, now they're using biometrics, basically facial recognition software, any identifiable marks, whether it be tattoos or scars. And eventually it will all go down to RFID chips, which are now in passports, so kind of pings of where you've been. But back to what I was talking about. Facial recognition software, even though it's being employed by the government, can benefit you as a consumer and as a privacy advocate. Now, using passwords does get pesky after a while, and sometimes, everyone knows that after a while, your password can be hacked into, whether it be a brute force thing, or even using, rainbow codes like we showed you in our first episode. So passwords really aren't that reliable. Facial recognition software is the wave of the future, so we're going to teach you a little bit about it. Now, what we use for our supplies is we have used a Dynex camera, webcam. It was purchased for around $30 from Best Buy. Go out and get one. It's a good webcam. And we're using a free software, open source software called, I believe it's called Key Lemon. It used to be called Bananaware.
Banana screen?
Banana screen,
It
something like
used to be called Banana Screen. But the creator changed it to something a little bit more technical, or whatever. I don't really care. But anyways, you want these two pieces of this one piece of equipment and this one software tool. Now, what it really does is it recognizes your face and it will log you in after determining that you're the right person. Now, if you're out for a little bit, you can adjust the settings for a certain time delay. Say you go away from your computer, it will log you out, say after 10, 15, however many seconds that you want it. The computer will be locked out, and the camera will actually shut off after a certain amount of time that you predetermine yourself. There are a couple of pitfalls to it. Similar facial structures. Myself and Steve have very similar facial structures. According to this software, so we were both able to log in. So now there are some possible pitfalls, like I said, but what we're going to do is we're going to include some software that we've written ourselves after the segment has been posted, so you can have a second password pop up once you've logged in to just verify. You might have a girlfriend, your mom, someone like that might look similar to you. A lot of families do look similar, not because of inbreeding, but they do look similar. So your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, they might look really similar, and they might be able to get in. So let's take a peek at this software. Now, there are three main features to Lemon Screen. Now, what it is you'll download it, and then here's the address to download it right here. And what it has three settings. It has enrollment, settings, and obviously help. Ooh. Well, enrollment, what you do is you're going to put in your Windows password here at the bottom. What you're going to do is you're going to face directly, facing towards the webcam. Now, it has two different bars. It has facial detection software, or not a facial detection software, a facial detection level. So it's determining that there's a face, and it'll have a red square that zooms in on any facial features. Then it has it. So what you'll do to enroll this is you'll look forward, kind of try to get as close as possible. Look forward, add the webcam, and hit Enroll Model. What it'll do, it'll take a picture of you, and it'll take a little bit to kind of update that. And once it says your model is ready, it'll show a confidence level of how confident it thinks that you match up to that predetermined image. Now, if you look away for a little bit, it will automatically lock you out after a certain amount of time. So you need to basically keep face-to-face contact with the camera and with yourself and with the person using it in order to stay logged in. Otherwise, it's going to lock you out. Now, how do I determine how long it's going to take me to lock out? You're wondering. Well, what you do is you're going to go to Settings, and you can determine how long it takes for you to go away. Say you need to go get something to eat, something to drink, use the bathroom. You walk out and you forget to log out just because you're in a rush to get to class or something else important. Well, you can determine how long it's going to take. For this, I put 5. Now, that's 5 seconds of lack of face-to-face contact. So again, if I turn my face to the side, it will lock me out. Again, you can also choose the delay of inactivity before the camera is disabled. Now that means you walk away for 300 seconds to what it's set as the default, and the camera will eventually turn off. Now the session will probably lock out before the camera turns off. Otherwise, then the whole point of having this is useless. So you want to make sure that the delay of inactivity before locking the session is shorter than the delay for the camera turning off. Now you can also choose the camera device. Maybe you have a couple different webcams. The one possible reason you might have this, if you're using Skype, for example, you can't be using Skype or any other facial recognition program in conjunction with this at the same time. Otherwise, it will create all sorts of problems. So just don't go there. Now, what I'm going to show you is I'm going to save all of my changes. Now look away for a little bit, and I will wait for it to lock me out. Now, I set it for 5 seconds, so after 5 seconds, it will show a light on this particular webcam. It'll come to the login screen, but rather than have the Windows login screen, it will have a key lemon login screen. It'll basically be showing you a display of what the webcam is showing. Now, you can just basically look back in. It will determine the confidence level of if you're the right person or not, and it will allow you in. Now, one possible pitfall, like I had mentioned earlier in this segment, is people that have similar facial structures will sometimes be able to log in. So you probably, like I said, will want to get that software that we're going to be offering and posting once we're done with this. We also did try we took a picture of myself and tried to use that to log in. It did not work. However, that could have been because of light quality, resolution, all sorts of other factors. So it is possible, if you guys remember the movies such as Demolition Man, where they take the guy's eye out and hold up to the scanner, there are some ways to fool this, which is why you need that extra security. So all in all, it is an open source software program. It's a cheap little webcam that does wonders. You guys will love it. Just add that extra little bit of security, like I said. But besides that, for the money, it's definitely worth it. You will enjoy it, and good luck staying safe. Use this to your advantage because the government's using it against you.
Thanks for your sharing your paranoia with us, your tinfoil hat, you crazy Jared boy, you. Anyways.
Yeah. So thanks for watching this episode. This has been episode 2 of season 2. We're glad to bring it to you, but it's been a little while, but here it was. So, yep.
I'd like to thank. Actually, we don't know who to thank. We have a couple people to thank, but all the people that I used to thank at the end of the show, I don't know if they're still around. So if you want us, if you want to start affiliating with us again, if you know someone that might want to affiliate with us, feel free. Drop me an email. Of course, it's the same it's always been, as will@techcentric.org. We'll throw a couple links up on our site, links up on your site. We'll mention it at the end of the show. Whatever. We just don't know, among all the people that I used to thank, who's still around and who's not. So drop me a line. Let me know that you're still alive.
I'd also like to thank a couple people here. Wickland, Swedish musician, who has given us some music for the show, and I'd like to thank him for that. And also my friend Kyle for helping me out with one of the segments in the show. So that should be all.
Yeah, one more thing. Big thanks to Famical Man, actually.
Right.
Who's a big fan of the show. Apparently a big fan of the show, because we had a couple troubles with our server, and he came through and he actually had copies of all the episodes archived on his machine completely. So big thanks to him. It's it's because of him that we didn't have to go and re-encode a whole bunch of stuff, which we don't have the horsepower for.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Anyways,
that should be all.
This has been episode 2, season 2 of TechCentric. See you next time.
See you next time. Until then. Grip.
Grip. Okay. Grip. Are you ready? Is that what this means?
This means ramp it up.
That means we're rolling.
Yeah, this means we're rolling.
The Matrix.
Take the red pill. Take the blue pill. Alright.
Anyways.
Jared.
I'm gonna blank. I don't know what to say. It distributes VGA video signals to a RGB CRT monitor via a VGA cable. This particular model is a 32 megabyte PCI version. We notice the PCI slot on the left hand side here.
That's the white spacer thing.
This white spacer is placed here for a very specific reason, though. That reason I don't know. But it probably has something to do. This particular model is an S3 Verge Trio V42DX model, delivering the ultimate in basic VGA video display.
Basic. How do you have the ultimate in something basic?